Welcome back to Chosen to Rise podcast. I'm your host, Najlee Tubois, and I'm so grateful you're here today. Whether this is your first time listening or you've been here since episode 1, I just want to thank you for spending this time with me. Today's episode is called Healing While Still Becoming. I believe this episode is for anyone going through a season of change and looking for hope along the way. Maybe you're healing. Maybe you're growing. Maybe you're rebuilding after a difficult season. Or maybe you're simply trying to figure out what's next. If that's you, I want you to know this right away. You don't have to have everything figured out to be making progress. You don't have to be completely healed to be moving forward. And you don't have to be perfect for God to continue working in your life. Today, we're going to talk about healing, growth, faith, and learning to be patient with ourselves while God continues shaping us. Now, I'm going to talk about the myth about healing. I think many of us grow up believing healing looks perfect. We imagine waking up one day and suddenly feeling completely different. No sadness, no difficult memories, no moments of struggle, just healed. Healing is often quiet. It's gradual. It can be messy sometimes. Healing can look like having a great day and then suddenly remembering something painful. Healing can look like making progress while still having questions. And sometimes we think because we're still hurting in certain areas, we must not be healing. But that's not true. No, it doesn't work like that. Remember, healing is a process. It doesn't always happen overnight. It means you're processing experiences that impacted your life. And the truth is, healing isn't about pretending something never happened. It's about learning how to move forward without letting the pain define you. So what healing actually looks like, I know it's different for everyone. It can be choosing peace over chaos, setting boundaries without feeling guilty, saying no when you used to overextend yourself. Healing is when you learn to sit with your emotions instead of avoiding them. It's about not going back to what hurt you. Let me say that again in case you didn't hear me the first time. Healing is about choosing not to go back to what continuously hurt you. I know I should stop right there and end today's episode because that was more than enough for you. But let me be serious. Healing is accepting that not everyone will understand. It's about allowing yourself to rest mentally, physically, spiritually. Most importantly, it's about allowing God to give you rest. It's about allowing God to come in and mend your broken heart. There's this scripture that I love. I once said to someone that this scripture saved my life because I was going through it. There was a time I was really distraught and I was confused about which way to go, in life, and I just didn't know what to do. I came across this scripture and it really brought light to my circumstance. Matthew chapter 11, verse 28. Come to me, all who are weary, and I will give you rest. Some versions say, come to me, all you who are tired and carrying heavy loads. I will give you rest. Jesus wants you to lay it at his feet and rest in him. The thing is, sometimes we don't know how to rest. We worry about so many things. We have to do this, we have to do that. What happens if this happens? What happens if that happens? Jesus wants you to rest in him. Now, what does that look like? It means surrendering to him, allowing him to take control, taking your hand off the wheel. Jesus wants you to get to the point where you say, I'm tired. I've tried it all. I tried everything, but nothing seems to be working. Here you go. that's when he comes in. When we acknowledge that he is God, when we acknowledge that he is Lord over every area of our lives, that's when he comes in. When we say, Lord, you know what? I'm taking my hand off the steering wheel. You are in charge. That's when he comes in. He said, I will give you rest for your soul. I think many people are healing in silence, trying to rebuild, trying to trust again, trying to stop blaming themselves. And maybe that's you. Maybe you're healing in ways nobody sees. And that still counts. I want you to choose to heal. I want you to choose to be free. Allow God to mold you into who he has called you to be. I'm speaking to the mother who has lost herself. I'm speaking to the mother whose identity is in her children. I'm speaking to the man who tries to hold everything together, who tries to lead, who tries to fix everything and overextend his hand. But he's burnt out. I'm speaking to the man who's being pulled to and fro, yet his own life seems out of control. I'm speaking to the divorcee who's like a fish out of water. I'm speaking to the woman who tried to find her identity in a man. I'm speaking to the one who was once on fire for God, but life just got in the way. I'm speaking to the person who's just trying to find their way. He's the one that heals, and he's the one that delivers, and he is the one that restores. I want to talk about feeling stuck. One of the hardest parts of healing is when you feel like you're not moving forward. You take one step forward and one step back. You wonder, why am I still thinking about this? Why do I feel so emotional? Why am I not over this yet? Why haven't I overcome this? Pause. Now take a deep breath. Some days you'll feel strong. Other days you may not even feel like getting out of the bed. There were many times I didn't want to get out the bed. You're not behind. You're still processing. And again, I say healing takes time. It's a process. The truth is, sometimes healing takes longer because you had to survive it. You didn't have time to process. You had responsibilities. You had people depending on you. You had to keep functioning. You're still becoming. You don't have to have everything together. I think we put so much pressure on ourselves. Pressure to have all the answers. Pressure to know exactly where we're going. Pressure to always be confident. But life doesn't work that way. No. Most people are learning as they go. Most people are becoming. Most people are figuring things out one day at a time. And honestly, that's okay. You don't need to have every step planned. It's God who orders our steps. For the steps of the righteous are ordered by the Lord. You don't have to figure it out. What you need to do is be in alignment with God. When you are in alignment with him, he will direct your path in the way that you should go. So you don't need to have all the answers. You just need enough faith to take the next step. God often reveals things one step at a time, not all at once. That's because he wants us to trust him during the journey. So don't lean on your own understanding. One thing I've learned is that God grows us in stages. We often want immediate answers, right? Immediate healing, immediate breakthroughs. But God is usually more interested in transformation than speed. Now, again, I say don't get me wrong. I believe in divine speed. Yes, there are things that God does with divine speed. But for the most part, he is more interested in transformation. Think about a flower. It doesn't bloom overnight. There's a process. The seed has to be sown and watered. Then at the appointed time, the flower blossoms. Roots grow before the bloom. And God is doing the root work in our lives. He's strengthening our faith, teaching us patience, building confidence, helping us become stronger than we were before. Even when you can't see growth happening, that doesn't mean growth isn't happening. Trust the process. Trust God's timing. And I want you to stop being so hard on yourself. I want to speak directly to someone listening right now. Be kinder to yourself. You're doing better than you think. Seriously. You've survived things that could have broken you. You've made it through difficult seasons. You kept going when it could have been easier to quit. At times it's easier to quit. But let me tell you something. Quitting is not an option. Quitting is not an option. I want you to say that to yourself. Quitting is not an option. Throwing in the towel is not an option. Celebrate your small wins. Give yourself credit. You have to stop speaking to yourself as if you're failing. It's important that you speak life. Speak life in every dead situation. Death and life are in the power of the tongue, and those who love it will eat its fruit. You have to speak life. Encourage yourself. Celebrate the little and big wins. Push yourself to be the better version of you. So speak life. You're learning, you're growing, you're healing, you're becoming. And every version of you deserves grace. So enjoy the process of becoming. I think sometimes we become so focused on where we're trying to go that we forget to appreciate where we are. Celebrate growth, celebrate progress. Celebrate the fact that you're still trying. There's something beautiful happening in your life right now. You may not see it yet, but one day you'll look back and realize that God was shaping you all along. The struggles weren't wasted. The waiting wasn't wasted. The tears weren't wasted. Your prayers weren't wasted. The process wasn't wasted. God was preparing you and still is. I want to thank you so much for joining me for today's episode of Chosen to Rise podcast. I hope you leave this podcast remembering that healing is not a race. Growth takes time, and God is still working in your life. So be patient with yourself. Trust God's timing. Be patient with God. And remember, you're still becoming. Until next time, keep healing, keep growing, and keep rising. I'll talk to you soon. Love you.